Welcome to the First and Inches podcast, where every play counts and every take hits hard. Right. David is repping the dynasty that is the Kansas City Chiefs. George bleeds black and gold for Steeler Nation, and AP is still waiting on the Vikings to show up in February. We're breaking down the biggest stories in football, baseball, and anything in between. We're calling it like we see it, and no fan base is safe. Touchdown! This is the First and Inches podcast.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the First and Inches podcast. I am Jorge.
I am Hooks.
AP here, present.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, man. How about you? What's good? What's new?
It's been a good week. I think last I remember, the Cowboys won a few games. The Chiefs lost a game. The Eagles lost a few games. The Vikings are the Vikings, but whatever.
Yeah.
The Steelers lost. The Chiefs lost.
We got a big reveal. I'm going to be quarterback this weekend, against the Commanders.
It's been a rough week. It's been a rough week for some of our predictions, some of our teams, and some of our playoff futures and hopes. I know that you keep saying the Steelers are leading the division, but by a tiebreaker they're losing. They're losing that spot to the Ravens. I know we're going to get into some of the division battles right now and some of what we expect to happen the rest of the season. But how do we want to start this show?
Let's start it out like a baseball Oreo sandwich. Yeah. Let's talk about baseball to start out with.
Yeah, let's do that because you know what's on my mind? The new ABS coming next season. So listen, they say it's been working in the minor leagues, right?
Yeah. But
I got to thinking, how do you account for the actual strike zone? And I know they have is it 9 or 19 cameras? I don't know that can detect the ball's trajectory by as far as 2 millimeters wide or whatever of whatever they call it. So is this going to account for the fact that, for example, you have Aaron Judge, who is 6'7", and Carlos Stanton is 7 foot tall. Then you got your Jose Altuve of the world, who is 5'6", which when I told my wife he's 5'6", she's like, well, see, you could have been a baseball player. I was like, I know I could have been a baseball player.
I am a baseball player.
I am a baseball player, damn it.
But you chose a path of podcasting instead.
Except on Sundays. Twice on Sundays, I have baseball games. So anyway, how does the zone account for that? And now in the past, in your opinion, how have umpires accounting for things like this? Do they change the strike zone based on how tall you are?
Yeah.
General?
So the ABS is going to be based off of 53.5% of your height and 27% of the bottom, the bottom part of the zone. So it's going to change as the batter gets smaller, gets taller, whatever. Now the width of the plate's always going to be the same,
right?
Whatever size you are. So that's not going to change. So, but what is it, from your kneecaps to your chest is the strike zone?
The chest can be kind of high, though. Is that unfair? Because, now you're giving a strike zone to Aaron Judge that is 30% bigger than that, maybe not 30%, but at least 20% bigger than that of Jose Altuve. How is that fair?
It's always been like that. What is it? It's the upper. Is it lower chest? Is that where the bottom, the top?
The nips.
Yeah.
Nips.
I get it. It's been like that. But how is that fair? How is it that you're going to tell me my strike zone is so much bigger just because I'm bigger? That doesn't make sense.
What was the midget that they ran out there with the little person that they ran out there that back in the day. That was
Well,
who was
look,
that? Was that the White Sox that did that?
well,
Well,
look what Frank Thomas did, right? He had that big, elongated stance, stood straight up. Same thing with Jay Buhner, and then you had a guy like Jeff Bagwell that had a short, compressed stance, really, and he shrunk the strike zone, if you will. I see what you're saying,
yeah.
Jorge, but
Now,
there's
how is
no
that
way.
fair for a pitcher, right?
Right. You have a smaller strike zone, but it's the same thing, right? Like if you crouch down, same thing they do when they get in that two strike stance and when they choke up on the bat, that has nothing to do with the strike zone, but it's all about, execution and how they go into it. There's no other way around it. You
Yeah.
gotta, so you're right. So these guys that are taller, they've got a much larger strike zone or more give the pitcher does, to cover.
Yeah. And
That's
I know
why.
all the
Oh,
pitchers got to deal with it. So I get it. It all evens out. But
right.
in theory, to me, it doesn't seem fair. Now, also, the play doesn't change, right? The play hasn't changed. The strike zone goes
Mhm.
from the framework of the play. So now, if you're Aaron Judge, you can hit a ball that's on the outside corner very easily. If you're Alejandro Kirk, it's not as easy for you to go all the way out there to chase that outside pitch.
Mm-mm.
So historically, I wonder, and I'll look into this, how well have taller, hitters done when hitting things that are a little bit outside of the zone? And then as a pitcher, you can throw a ball on the edge of the zone to a short player, right? That could potentially be, borderline, and he's not going to do anything terrible with it, right? Because he can barely reach to get it. But then if you hit the same spot on an Aaron Judge or somebody, I mean that ball is flying to right field and out of the
Mhm.
park. So when I was thinking about the ABS and how it's going to take over some of these umpires who are calling the strike zone based on the individual hitters or things like that,
Mhm.
those special factors. And there's going to be more appeals, I think, in major league than there was in minor leagues. And I think is going to be a little bit night and day situation of what they expected would happen and what really is going to happen this year.
No, they only get two. They only get two challenges.
They only get
If
two if they get one wrong, or if
Right.
they get them
they
wrong.
get two wrong. They get to get two wrong.
Yeah, so they can get two
So
wrong, but they can get 30 of them if they get them all right.
you're not your guy batting in the 8-hole is not challenging. He's not. They're not going to lie.
Well, he's going to challenge if the predicament of the game is on the line, though.
Yeah, and on average, there's 9 missed calls per game behind the plate. So if you throw in 2, that means you can lower, if they get them right or whatever, they get them wrong, they can lower that 9 to maybe a
Mhm.
6 range on average.
6,
So
7.
are 3 or 4 calls that get appeal or overturned,
Like
6
that,
or
Adam.
7 are going to be. Are 3 or 4 calls going to make a big difference in the game? I mean, over the length of a whole season.
My
Well,
guess is that the umpires are probably going to get better because of the fact that they know that they could be held accountable.
I hope that happens. I mean, that's ultimately, I think that's one of the goals, right?
Yeah.
what does this do to catchers? So, on their free agent contracts, right? So you've got catching is primarily a defensive first position. And obviously, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, framing has been one of the number one, if not the top defensive metric or catcher orientation.
Yeah.
So, what does this do to them, their free agent outlook? Because now you basically have a backstop, right? That's what he is. There's no, I mean, listen, he still needs to cover, they still got to call a good game, right? He's got to stop block balls in the dirt. We all know that. But still, this opens up, from a catcher's fiduciary standpoint, how much they're worth, right? I'd like to see how they're going to evaluate this, because a lot of catchers, their WAR ranking or their value is based on their defense and framing metrics. So this has got more consequences than just, I think, what we're initially talking about from a catcher's perspective.
this is going to affect the dumb ones, because the smart ones, your Will Smiths of the world, they understand the game so well. You're going to be behind the plate, framing those pitches that have a very low chance of getting appealed, right? And trying to get that call from the umpire. And I think the umpire is going to understand too, like, hey, nobody's going to appeal something borderline with one strike. Now, when it comes to 2 strikes and a strikeout call that might be at the edge, you want to make sure not to sell it too much, because then the psychology of it is the umpire is going to think, oh, you're framing all these pitches and I'm going to be wrong because of your framing. So
Right, that's what I
maybe
mean.
don't frame those at the end that may get appealed, because if they get reversed, then the umpire might not be. So, they'll be more reluctant to calling those pitches in your favor when you're framing. So that psychology will come in, and some of the smart catchers are going to take advantage of it, and the ones that are not so smart are going to die by it.
They're going to be exposed. They're
Yeah,
going to get exposed. Yeah,
and hurt their
That's what
team ultimately,
right.
I think. So
All right.
I guess I'm ready for it and see what happens. I know early in the season is going to be a crapshoot, and see, how many people take advantage or utilize this new rule the wrong way, and it'll all work itself out. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the the pitch clock itself. It's a rule that came in a few years ago, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong. Early on, I'm a purist. I'm all for not changing the game. Don't change this. Don't change that. The whole shift and all that stuff. I didn't really like it. After a while, I'm like, okay, I can get behind it, because there's other benefits to it. Even if it's a little bit different, we'll adapt. Everybody has to deal with it, so it's still fair. But when it comes to the pitch clock, there's been an argument that it has accelerated the rate by which some pitchers are getting hurt, or the amount of injuries that have happened in the league. The MLBPA has been arguing, because the players were against it when the pitch clock came into effect. MLBPA was trying to fight it. It's one of those rules that they had to basically compromise on. But yeah, when you're your whole career dealing with the weight in your mechanics, and then all of a sudden it changes because you have to hurry up, and you have this time limit before you throwing your next pitch and doing that. Number one, it overworks you, I think. And number two, it changes the way that your mechanics go. And if you've been doing this for 25 years, maybe 20 years, and now you have to change all of a sudden because you only have 18, 14 seconds or whatever to get this pitch across the plate, that's going to create problems.
It's absolutely not creating problems. We only have a few seasons of data, but the data is showing that there's less lower body injuries. So people are not standing around, they're actually pitching. There's decreased or similar injuries in the last couple of years versus the prior couple of years. Now there's a rise in elbow injuries, but I think that's probably based on the fact that the higher velocity and the higher spin. I think that, the coaches are teaching them, to throw the ball differently than what they were when they were coming up.
So are there more injuries now than 20 years ago in general?
I don't know the answer to that one. I just know over recent.
Well, there is. We do know Tommy John surgeries are year over year have been egregiously bad.
Actually, they haven't been over the last couple of years compared to a couple of years before.
Well, I'm talking like going back 20 years. What he's talking about.
Yeah.
I think it has to predominantly is driven by just these guys, and they're more, the conditioning, like they're more tightly wound, fit, guys. I think a lot of that has to do with it, as opposed to the guys back in the 70s and 80s. Just even their body types, they're not really built for this. I mean, they're well conditioned athletes, but I think a lot of that needs to be looked into. Their workout, their training regimen on, how they're building up. And also, they're not throwing 200 innings anymore. They're throwing 150 to 175. So they're letting it rip, while they can. They're chasing velocity. They're tunneling pitches. I don't know if the expediting of their getting into their motion is necessarily there's not enough. I can't comment one way or the other. I see where you're going, Jorge. You probably have, a case. I can't really say on that though, because it hasn't been long enough. But I think the biggest driver for all of this though is the fact that there's the turnover, right? Like they're just constantly, and now they're offsetting that by the three batter minimum. I'm with Hooks though when it comes to these injuries, if that's what we're talking about. And I think most of it is velocity and them chasing that triple digit heat.
Do you think a lot of people still complain about how much these pitchers demand in free agency? Screwball, turned down an offer from Detroit.
Yeah.
But when you factor in the fact that, hey, he's giving it his all, and that might mean that his career is not going to be as long, right? As he might want it to be if he's having to go out there and throw however many pitches 100 miles an hour per game, as opposed to what it was 20 years ago. So I wonder if that plays a factor in determining the value of what these, elite starting pitchers bring to the table. What do you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Scooball was in, they were in the playoffs and game 7, was it game 5 or game 7, the end of the series. And, he went 6 innings, did good. Like if that was Greg Maddux or Randy Johnson, there's no way they're leaving in the 6th inning or the 7th inning.
Yeah.
There's not. But then also the situation where Yamamoto has his money's lined up and signed, sealed, and delivered. He doesn't mind going out there pitching in game 6 and game 7. There's no chance Scooball would do that.
Now, I think the Japanese players are conditioned for things like that. Because in Japan,
I agree.
They will throw a lot. Like it's not even close to what they do here. So I don't think to Yamamoto's body it was a big deal to come in game 6 or game 7. He probably could have gone another 2 innings, but
I know, but if you look at it from a pitcher's perspective, like, just a blank slate pitcher, him doing that, I guarantee you everybody else, if it wasn't Yamamoto coming from Japan, if it was just an American, born and raised pitcher, you're definitely thinking this is going to have recoil effect, going into next year. But, you got to look at Madison Bumgarner. Remember what he did, right? He did just what Yoshi did. Some would say it was better. But he wasn't a velocity type pitcher either, though. You know what I mean? He was your traditional, non-super athletic, super fit guy. That goes to my narrative of these guys. Maybe they're conditioned the wrong way in terms of starting pitching, right?
Yeah. Well, they don't make them like that anymore.
No.
Does Roger Clemens get in the Hall of Fame?
He should.
I say Clemens and Bonds for sure. Pete Rose, no.
What about A-Rod?
Yeah, A-Rod, yes. Absolutely.
He was telling Stephen A. Smith, he's like, well, if I don't get in, it's my own fault. But he did think that Clemens and Bonds both should get in. That would be interesting to see down the line. All right, let's talk about football, guys.
Yep, let's go.
It was a great week for America. America's team won. The Chiefs lost. So it was amazing.
Yeah. Let me start it off with the Vikings real quick, just because I want to get it. I don't want to spend hardly any time. I spent too much time on it last week.
Nobody wants you to spend time on
No, I'll just tell you this. I think the main issue with them, really, is lack of preparation with the way they're playing this game. I think, if I had to assign blame, I'd told you before, starts at the very top with Kwesi, their general manager, but also KOC, their head coach, not getting them prepared, because with Brosmer and JJ McCarthy looking like they have, it falls back on coaching. These guys are professional athletes. Nobody should be playing like that week over week. It was unfair what they did to Brosmer, throwing him out there against the Seahawks. But he had probably the ugliest pick six you'll ever see, whatever the hell that was. But why was he even fucking throwing on 4th and 1 right there? Kick the field goal or run the ball. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see how this next week shakes out. I said it can't get any worse, and they figure out a way to go through the bottom. So I'm done.
All right. I need y'all to clip this. I say clip this. I hope this ends up being a really good clip, but I want to apologize to Adam because I have always supported the Vikings.
Yeah.
And since we've been doing the podcast this year, I've given him a hard time about Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
Darnold, Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
JJ,
Well,
Rossmer.
Hold on.
I do apologize.
Let me just say Let me just say this about the Daniel Jones thing. He threw no balls for the Vikings. Everybody's saying, "Oh, they fucking passed up Daniel Jones," because Daniel Jones is doing well now. Nobody knew what Daniel Jones was gonna do. You know what I mean? To be fair, he was on the practice squad. Came up for the playoff game as a backup to Darnold, but he was released mid-season from the Giants. So that whole I hear them. Pat McAfee was talking about it. I'm like, no one fucking knew what Daniel Jones was going to turn into. This excellent quarterback that he is with the Colts. So that's out the door with that.
All right, but just being, we've known each other for years, and I've always been the person that tries to build your team up and
I appreciate it.
Give you hope. And so I do apologize. I really do because I didn't mean to go overboard, but I realized that I have done that. So I do apologize.
No, it can't get any lower, but it does. Anyway, done with the Vikings.
But bro, is Daniel Jones that good? Who have the Colts beat? I mean, they beat the Broncos, but they beat the Dolphins,
right.
The Titans,
and they've also got the best. They're also got the best running back in football, right?
The Raiders, the Cardinals, the Chargers.
Well, I was more so talking
Titans,
about how mainstream media is saying they passed up on Daniel Jones. Nobody knew what
Falcons.
He was going to do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, let's talk about the Steelers, Jorge.
Yes.
It was our turn.
The division leading
lose a game
Steelers.
that we should have at least been competitive in, but no. At home, Buffalo is not playing the greatest football right now, and we're just gonna lay an egg. But I don't know. They're chasing the Ravens now for the division. I don't know what will happen this week. This week we got, who do we have?
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
Steelers at the Ravens.
So this will make or break our season. We got to play the Ravens twice, but if we lose to them now, I mean, it's an uphill battle, right? If we beat them, I don't know how we're going to beat them. We're not going to beat them. I don't even care where the game is. It's at home, but there's no way. There's no way that the Steelers can come out of this game. Did you see how old Aaron Rodgers looks out there? He looks clueless and old.
Who'd you say he looked
Physically, they've showed a couple times where he's been sacked, and it's like that with anybody. That 0G thing when people are in the planes or whatever. But Aaron Rodgers looks really fucking old.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers looks like he just broke into Kevin McAllister's house, bro.
That's what it was.
Like a wet bandit.
Hey, listen, I would take him though. But full disclosure, we're talking smack. I would totally take him on the Vikings.
Take him, because if we give Mason Rudolph more playing time, he's going to be less bad, and that's what we're going for. Less bad down the stretch.
Anyway, Jorge, y'all have a shot. Y'all have a real shot. You beat him. Beat him.
You keep saying
spread.
that. You know how you used to tell my wife every time the Chiefs would beat the Cowboys, you would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Melody. I really wanted them to do well. I know it's a rough game, blah, blah, blah." It's just a bunch of bullshit. And she did it to you this week. She's like, I know you had a rough couple of weeks. I really wanted you guys to do well. No, you don't. You hate the Steelers, so don't even lie.
Yeah.
That will be one of our good days. You'll be snipping that
pretty soon
whenever the Steelers get eliminated.
It might come before
the
schedule
Chiefs,
this year.
There's nothing left. No losses allowed. They lose another game, they're out.
Yep.
It's going to be
6-6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get to 11-6.
If we lose this week, we're done.
Yeah, I don't think that they make the playoffs at 10-7.
Okay, real quick, if you had to say what's the top two things that why they're inconsistencies, what are they? Top two things.
They haven't scored enough points. When
it matters.
No, I mean they've had issues across the offensive line that just not giving Mahomes
Sure.
time is
Right.
probably the biggest one.
Yeah, but then what do? You gotta adapt to that, right? You have to change your play calling. Because listen, when Mason Rudolph came in 2 weeks ago, and he's doing a lot of dumping passes on the flat and short, we were doing really well. I mean,
Yeah.
for God's sake, we scored 28 on the Bears. So we were doing well, understanding that Mason Rudolph didn't have a lot of time behind center, right?
Mhm.
Or in the pocket, or the pocket is about to blow up in 3 seconds. So if you call plays based on that, and you keep the defense out of the backfield, then we have a chance. But Aaron Rodgers is back there, having freaking his siesta every play, waiting for the 4 o'clock special at the, like, throw the ball, get rid of it. You gotta, and by getting rid of the ball, I don't mean run it up the middle 32 times, because it's not working with that line, right? So you got to figure something else out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest problem. I don't even. I'm so sick of football right now. Maybe next week we talk about the division breakdowns. See if we still have a shot.
Well, what happened to the Chiefs this week?
So, Drake May, AFC quarterback of the week, player of the week.
Drake May. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah,
They are 11-2 going into the bye. That's insane.
He looks good.
2.5 game lead over Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Guess who the defensive player of the week was in the AFC? It was Christian Benford from the Buffalo Bills. He had an interception, fumble recovery, tackle for the loss against the Steelers.
It's a one-man show. I mean, he beat us single-handedly, so he accounted for more points than our whole offense.
Drake May is the MVP favorite now.
Deservedly so. He didn't have a bad year last year either.
Yeah, but they won like 3 games.
Right. I'm just saying that he's the real deal.
So Jordan Love was the NFC player of the week, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns. But the defensive player of the week, you guys it's a common theme here. Ernest Jones from the Seahawks had 2 interceptions, 85-yard touchdown return.
To be fair, us 3 could have had a shot at that if we were out there. Hey, real quick, this is before we transition to the individual. If you could do redraft for quarterbacks, real quick. So Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, JJ McCarthy. Just kidding. But those 3, because Caleb Williams isn't bad, right? I know you're not taking him number 1, but so ultimately the question comes down to, is Jaden Daniels or Drake May? Who do you got? You got to decide.
I would say Daniels. Listen,
Yeah.
I like what Drake May is doing. I get it. But must we do this, guys? He's beat the Dolphins. He's beat the Panthers. I mean, he did
that's
beat
what he's
the Bills.
supposed to do, right?
But that's a close game. He beat the Saints. He beat the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons, the Bengals.
Well, it's a soft schedule, but he can't control that. Who's to say he wouldn't have done this against?
Lost to the Raiders.
I know. And he lost to the Steelers.
So you're saying Jaden Daniels?
If you put Patrick Mahomes behind center in New England against that schedule, what's their score? How many yards does he have? Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I take Daniels.
It's that last place schedule. I mean, Daniels looked great last year too in that last place schedule.
I can't wait for next year. The Vikings are going to have nobody to play because they're going to feel so bad with how shit they played. They'll be like, nah.
You might end up in the 12-team playoffs in NCAA next year, maybe.
They might. What's it called in soccer? Whenever you fall out of what's it?
Relegated?
Yeah.
Get relegated to Division I, maybe D2.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
CFL.
Anyway.
All right. So this was the baseball Oreo sandwich we're doing.
Okay.
So we got a bunch of free agents still left.
Okay. Yeah.
So what do you guys think about Bellinger? Cody Bellinger.
I think it's totally overrated. totally overrated. If you look at look, nothing wrong with the guy. I love him. He can ball, right? But is he first base, center field, right field? Where does he play? Over his last 3 years, little bit of inconsistency. Still posted a 12 WAR, which is fantastic, right? His bat scares me with the volatility. So he's hit 281 on slugged 477, which is solid. But I think at his age and the inconsistencies and the fact that it's looking like, a 6, 7, 8 year deal, depending on what they offer him, which I think he'll land with the Yankees.
6, 7.
I've been trying to work that in as much as I can. I think he's overrated. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you, but he's going to also be overpaid.
Right. It really.
Is he a Boris guy?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I think
you
he's a Boris
You think
guy.
all these free agents will find a home next week when I'm down there in Orlando?
Oh.
You gonna sign him up to the Tampa Bay Angels? If not,
Ooh, there we go.
So Bellinger has gotten better after they got rid of the shift. But I think I'm 99% sure that he's a Boris guy, and so the Dodgers are not signing him. So now your ability, I appreciate you looking that up, Adam.
Yeah, go ahead.
But he's basically going to be relegated to the East Coast, or and it looks like his projection 6 years, 165 million. So it's 27.5 million per year.
Yeah, I think that's a little too much.
Yeah,
just me.
What about
Boris?
Bo Bichette.
What does he want out of Toronto so bad?
Cedric Mullins signed with the Rays, the Devil Rays. Bichette, I think he is underrated. That dude can flat out hit, and he's a great team guy. I think what you saw that when he came back into the playoff. I think they're saying 8 years, 200 million, which is right. I mean, like if you remove it, it's ridiculous to say out loud. But with the climate that this baseball's in, with how these salaries are, I think he is a hell of a player. He can pick it at short. I think he's underrated. I think he's worth it. Also, here's my guess. I think he ends up with the Tigers.
So why does he want out of Toronto so bad?
Beyond me, I don't get it.
I don't know about all that. I'm just saying. So he missed quite a bit of time. You just want to put it from there. 291, about a 340 on base percentage, and still slugged at 445 at short premium defensive position. Dude's a baller.
But he's not long term there, is he? He just, he's not a great.
Damn young. He's young. So yeah, I think he is. I line him up there, and he's a smaller guy. In terms of he comes from good baseball pedigree. I think he's legit. He's underrated. So I take that deal.
What do you think, Jorge?
It's got to be one of those contracts that goes nowhere, right? With a crappy team, throwing a lot of money, trying to change the culture of the team, but they're not going to be able to afford the pieces to go around.
Right.
He needs to stay. I mean, some of these plays, I get it. You don't need to be loyal in sports, but at some point, you got to be loyal to yourself and try to win, not just chase the money every chance you get. Stick around, take a little bit less money. What difference will it make? If you have a good financial advisor like me, it won't make a difference, that extra $50 million, I'll find it and I'll make you that extra $50 million. And then give yourself a chance to win. If you go to Detroit and they lose their pitchers and they lose, I think they're going to lose somebody else, Green. They're going to lose some players. They're not going to be back there. And it's not going to be an easy road to the playoffs or to the World Series. So, what do I know?
But being in that East, with the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays, the Orioles, that's a tough little run over there too.
You know what? Everybody thinks it is because we see so many teams being successful from that league, but from that division. But they're all taking turns because the Red Sox are good one year and terrible the next. The Rays, competitive. They never can get over the hump. This year they sucked it up at the end. The Yankees, same thing. They'll have 2 good years and then one bad year, and it just happens all over. What about the Orioles 2 years ago? fantastic, right?
Yeah,
World Series
that's a good
tops.
point.
And then
Yeah, I
this
thought
year
they
they
were
just
gonna.
stunk it up from the
I thought they
get-go.
were gonna go off this year.
So
Yeah. So, all right, next one, Bregman.
Well, I know how you feel,
Trash.
Hooks. Yeah. So I don't know where he plays really, to be honest with you, because is he? He was second, he was third. I think if you can get him for maybe 4 years, 5 years, and it's in that low 120, 130, he's worth it. He would be value, but I think he's going to come in over that. So I'm going to say he's overrated. His batting average really isn't there. He hits well, but he doesn't have a defensive home. And if you're paying that kind of dollars to a guy, a lot like the Bellinger thing, where does he play? It's not like he's good enough to play all. I mean, he's good enough to play all over, but he's not good enough to play at a position, if you know what I'm saying.
I agree with you. Listen, there's only so many DH spots around the league. Not every player can become a DH just because they suck defensively. So at this point, if you're paying these kinds of guys for
Right.
that extra 10 percent on average over the similar players available, then you're overpaying, especially if he can't give you anything on defense, any extra on
And
defense.
correct. And also culture, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be one to talk about this. I don't know what's it like to be in the clubhouse, but, he is not well respected from all accounts that I've heard. Some players have openly said it. That's also something to consider. And you're saying a guy, like I said, 4, 5, 6 years, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, when
The,
you-
I
the
think
number that I saw was 5 years, 160 million. So
to
32
the Red
million
Sox,
a year.
right?
What's
And
that?
the Red Sox could get away with that, right? The Red Sox could hide something like that.
Yeah, that's overpaying, in my
All
opinion.
Next one up.
Next one up, Tucker. Is he?
Yes. Yes.
His projection is 11 years, 418 million,
I'm gonna tell
38
you,
million per.
worth it. I think he is a hell of a ball player. And look, remove the fact that that's a long contract, right? That's just what it is. Look what they did to Xander Bogaerts, right? And at the time, everyone's like, yeah, now it's ridiculous. Tatis got 13 years or whatever. I think this is just normal. But the guy is a hell of a hitter. He's well conditioned. He plays a good corner outfield. He's a likable guy from everything I've heard. I would take him. I'd plug him in the Reds for 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is for it. Listen to this. Slugging over 500, on base percentage at 380 and hitting 280. Dude. And he's done that sustainably. And he's missed some time, still had over a 12 WAR. And if you look at it season over season over season, he's 4 to 5 win player. And what was it, 2 years ago, he was hitting the hell off the cover of the ball. The dude is underrated.
Spend that money on pitching and you get more than the 5 games. Listen, that's overpaying. I don't like these super long-term contracts. I get it for Tatis because he's gonna do the juice to stay on the field, right? If he doesn't get caught for a long time. But these other guys that don't do the juice, they're not going to give you the length of the contract. You're throwing a little bit of money away, and he's consistently average. Like, don't tell me that 280 is great every year. Okay.
Now it is. That's
It
great.
is actually.
Is that what you
That's
want
a
it to
hell-
be? Okay, now it is. So it should be for 10
Well,
years.
it's a standard,
Look
though.
at the guys
You know
getting to
what I
the
mean?
Hall of Fame with career averages of 300. Like, we need to aspire for that more. Okay.
There's
And
very few
not-
of those.
and not reward
Well-
these guys that are hitting 280 just because the rest of the league was sucking.
Well, I see what you're saying, but the length of the contract is normal. What the Hooks is
It shouldn't be.
Dodgers. They've got Mookie Betts, Yamamoto, Otani. Hell, they gave, and he's worth every penny of it. Freddie Freeman 6 years, and he was a lot older than Kyle Tucker is at the time. So if you were to look at it, and comparably in terms of age, the season, it was a similar deal because of the age of them. I think this is the standard, dude. And at 280,
You know how we
I
talk
sure
about
hope that-
contract year? Imagine if everybody was on contract year every year.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of performance would we get? What kind of baseball would we see?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't see the Dodgers signing him unless it's a deal where it's 5 year, 220.
right.
They're not going to pay them
My prediction-
418 million.
The Jays.
Hmm.
That's my prediction.
I can
There
see
you go.
that.
All right.
All right. So Pete
Last-
Alonso
Oh,
got 4 years, 110 million, 27 and a half per. What do you think, Jorge?
He's worth that.
yeah.
And then
If you're getting for 4 years, I'd take him.
he's worth more than that in New York, but he's definitely worth that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
So-
he is.
No,
Again, looking the body of the game, he is underrated. I like what he's goofy.
And he's
Fucking-
not as bad as people think defensively. Like
No,
he had one of the highest rates of picking balls off, and I get it. Like they use the field a lot. You know, Lindor uses the turf a lot when making throws, but he, in my opinion, he does really well at first base.
Yeah.
Compared to what
Yeah.
else you got out there.
God, I hate agreeing with you guys because normally we don't all agree, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get why the Mets, would sign a Soto, but not take care of.
Yeah,
Alonso.
Yeah.
he just sold a golden toilet. Like you got money to pay Alonso. Come on now.
Well, we know what Soto's doing with his money. Who he's doing?
Hookers and cocaine.
All right. So what about Suarez?
Yeah.
His
So this
projections:
might be
4 years,
Jorge's.
$92 million.
Yeah. How much? How many years? 5 years?
4 years, 92 million,
I read.
23 million.
I
per.
read 5/110. No, I wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. This is the reason why. He's a pretty good pitcher. 10 WAR across 3 years. But his, we were just talking at the start of the show, strikeouts and the name of the game. He's averaging 22.8% strikeout rate, which is pretty low, especially if you're paying a guy that's kind of dollars. And his walk rate's right around average. Average is about 8%. He's rolling in around 7. So no, he is not worth it. And I don't think he's He's a number 3 starter, but you know what? To be honest with you, that might be what the going rate of a number 3 starter is.
Well,
Yeah.
they got Luzardo also a free agent, right?
Oh yeah,
The Phillies do. Luzardo's worth more than Suarez, I think.
yeah. And what was his deal? 4 years, $64 million back in the day when he did it, something like that.
I don't
Yeah,
know, but I mean,
yeah.
somebody should jump on him now too.
Hold on. Like you're saying, okay, because we're going to talk about Cease as well. But you're saying that, I mean, they're basically the same age. They're 7 months apart. So you're saying that Suarez isn't worth half of what Cease is? Because Cease 7 for 210.
No, I didn't say
you're-
that. No, I don't think Cease was worth that at all.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
Cease,
but I mean,
no.
that's the going rate for, I mean,
Well, that's
gotta
what I'm
be-
saying. Like, if that's the going rate for a number 3 starter, I'm saying he is overrated. If people are going to be paying him now, if that's the rate and maybe with Cease, because Cease isn't an ace, but he just got paid like $30 million a year. I mean, if that's the rate, so what does that equate to? 20 million?
yeah, at 30 and it'd be 30 here in a couple
Oh, that's
weeks.
going to be a horrible contract. That's a horrible contract with what happened with Cease. Yeah, I don't think it ages well at all. Nor does Suarez. I'm saying though, you could get somebody else to pitch in the 3rd, 4th spot because that's all Suarez is, in my opinion, at a lot cheaper, and then you could spend some money and get your Kyle Tucker, 10 years, $400 billion.
So what about Cease? What's everybody think about Cease and his 7-year, $210 million deal?
I don't know where the hell that came out of. Right?
There's not a lot of pitchers available. That's all it is.
Yeah,
you know,
supply and demand. That's it.
It's the Skeens or Screwball Stakes, and he's just riding their coattails for this money, for this bag.
Mhm.
He's not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, every other year his ERA is 4.5. I don't know why they think it's going to change. It's been like that for 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and his peripherals suggest that he's been an unlucky pitcher, right? That's fine. But again, I want a guy that dominates regardless of luck, and he's not that guy. If I'm paying
Yeah.
30 million a year.
If I'm going to pay, I'll pay a lucky guy before I pay an unlucky guy. Screw that.
yeah.
I don't want luck or unluck. I don't want any of that shit. I just want a guy that
they
dominates.
say they say it's luck, but I'm telling you, I've seen too many pitchers that they pitch really well when they're down a run and just keep throwing innings, but when they're ahead, they just give up the runs. And
He puts
so,
it on his vision board is what he probably does.
all right, so what about the chump of the week? Who's got the big winner of the chump of the week this week?
I mean, I want to go with Rogers.
Yeah, and
I mean, before it was a trash game and it was out of hand. He had like 90 yards throwing and 3/4, like terrible. He had one pick, 2 picks, getting blindsided. It's just very ineffective.
Yeah. I
A little biased.
want to do something differently, but how can anybody argue with the Minnesota Vikings and Kevin O'Connell? I mean, it's so disgusting.
You got a built-in chump of the week every week, don't you?
Yeah. I don't even have to do anything. Just boom. Skull.
All right.
Vikings.
So I got the winning chump of the week. It's the NFL concussion protocol. Drives me freaking batty. Like this has cost me a lot of money in fantasy football based on the fact that CJ Stroud can't get out of the concussion protocol.
No.
And Jackson Dart can't get out of the concussion protocol. Some of these people can't pass the concussion protocol before the season starts. Like, it's just too tough. Like, you can't, these guys, it's insane. So I say, give them a waiver. If they're not really great, let them sign a piece of paper and stop being soft.
It's football.
Have y'all seen the Edelman whenever he's talking about, we had a rule, I think it was him and Walker when they were in special teams, and he's like, if I get licked, you run and get me and remind me that my leg's hurting. And so he would get up, like his leg was hurting, even though he just got a concussion.
Yeah.
No.
So the players want to play. I mean, I can't imagine how pissed I'd be if I'm sitting in concussion protocol and it's like,
they're not going to let them. The litigious society that we live in, no way in hell.
Yeah.
And they'll just.
That's okay.
Yeah.
As a player, though, you don't want to lose your job.
No.
Because you sit on the bench 1 week, and next thing you know, you got a Tom Brady behind you, just taking your job, right? I mean, I'm feeling the same way. My hamstring, I pulled my hamstring 2 weeks ago, trying to run out a double, and we were kind of doing okay that game, and then we ended up losing. Then the following week, when I was out, they won a game. So now I got a game this Sunday. I'm thinking, did I lose my job, right, for getting hurt? I should have just hobbled my way to second. I don't know. We'll see.
So, well, when you got your camp, where's the Rangers camp at that you're going to?
It's going to be in Arizona at their spring training facility.
You want to make sure you're in shape for that.
I know. I need to stay healthy for that. I got 2 games this Sunday, and my wife told me, like, hey, you need to take it easy because you got that coming up next month, and you don't want to be hurt for that because that would be sad.
Yeah.
So
don't forget to lift and separate.
Lift and separate. I don't even know what that means.
Grip and rip. Baseball. Hitting terms. Slang.
So
all I know is what was that? Something and burn. What is that? Anyway. All right, guys. Good show.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Thank
To
you.
all of our listeners and those of you commenting on our Instagram posts and YouTube, we appreciate you. Please find us on YouTube and give us a follow. It doesn't cost you anything. Comment on our Instagram reels, and we will comment back or suggest any topic you want to hear about. Like today, we talked about some topics that some of our listeners wanted to hear about. And then any pointers you have, let us know. If you don't like our show, don't let us know that. Just keep on scrolling, sucker.
Just talk to us.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Good show. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
All right.
Peace.